And just like that, we are officially live, which means, contrary to what Multi Gunman said in the chat, we are not late. We are, in fact, right on time because it is 8 o'clock right now. So suck on that, Multi Gunman.
Yeah, they can just listen to the commercial first.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't care what you say. You know, well, I do care what you say, but I don't care what you say. Well, I do, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Well,
we care if you agree with us. We don't care if you disagree with us.
There you go. That's a great attitude right there. As long as you agree with everything we say, we care. That's the kind of sincerity that we offer here on Pinky and the Brain, because that's like awesome. And yes, we both have lights turned on today. Amazingly enough, it happens every once in a while. Usually only
I could
one
turn
of us
them
do.
off. I could turn them off.
Yeah, I could too.
It could be dark.
Yeah,
if that's what they want.
Yeah. And I know. I mean, like, this room tends to be a little dark anyway because I'm in a dark chair, wearing a dark shirt and dark background. But I do have the lights up fairly high. Anyway, we actually got a couple of cool things to talk about. Well, cool is I guess we got to see what the consensus goes. So you may think it's horrible. You may think, I don't know, maybe it's this horrible woke crap. But we'll see what you guys think. So, and Multi Gunman says the sound is muted because he's going to be a jerk like that. And maybe you should turn up the volume of your computer.
I just double checked. The sound is coming through.
I know it. Here you go. I'll turn it up here for you.
It's horrible.
There you go. Now you can hear it twice. I don't know. Maybe. There you go. It's now you can hear me talking about me for 5 minutes. Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? All right. All right. So anyway, the first thing we're going to talk about is the shorter of the two. I think it'll be easier to cover. And because the movie will take a few minutes, I think, to get through. So let's talk about what if Sharon Carter was the first Avenger. Now, if you've never, I don't know. Now I know you've read comics. So did you ever read What If back in the day?
The What Ifs were actually more of my favorite types.
Yeah, I subscribe to What If, Marvel's What If comics, with the Watcher. By the way, Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher, loved him. Great voice pick for the Watcher. I think he was great. And so they followed the format of the comic book precisely. Where a brief introduction of who the Watcher is, and then the Watcher tells you exactly where the deviation of the timeline is, to the moment, in fact. And so the deviation of the timeline, I'll tell you, Cinnamon, so if you've seen Captain America, the First Avenger, the difference, what created the new timeline is that when they told Sharon Carter to wait in the other room, in the movie, she waited in the other room. And in this, she insisted, hell no, I'm not waiting in the other room. And because that happened, the events with the terrorist went down a little bit differently. And because of that, Steve Rogers was injured. Because of that, he was unable to proceed with the super soldier serum. But there was damage to the equipment, and if they didn't activate the equipment quickly, then the whole thing was going to get fried, and nobody was willing to step into the machine. But Sharon Carter, being the badass that she was, if you've ever seen her, and both her show and just her attitude in Captain America, I think it's true to her character. She's like, okay, you guys are going to just stand around and say whatever, I'll get in the dang machine. So she gets in the dang machine, she gets injected, and she becomes Captain Carter. And then
I did find it funny when they sat there and looked at Stark and said, get in, and he goes, I just push buttons.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Howard Stark would say. Howard Stark ain't getting in that thing, and I don't think Tony Stark would have either. And Thomas says Matthew didn't have a problem with He-Man and hated Suicide Squad. Well, of course, because it's Matthew. I can't wait to talk to him about that. I didn't know that. Too bad Matthew won't come on here. He'd be afraid. I think he'd be truly afraid to talk to us.
Matthew, if you're out there lurking and listening,
yeah, come on, buddy.
Come on.
I'll give you the link right now.
Bring it on, Matthew.
Yeah. All right. So, and I also like that. So we then go through World War II as if Sharon Carter basically replaced Steve Rogers as the super soldier. So we got an abbreviated version of the Captain America: The First Avenger film. Which also included kind of a different version of Iron Man called the Hydra Stomper, which I actually thought was pretty badass. Which was piloted by Steve Rogers.
I wish there was one change to that, though. I wish they would have called it the Hydra Buster.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too. I mean, I was thinking, why not Hydra Buster? But I was probably they just figured that would have been a little too on the nose. But come on, I love the line, and What If is so famous for this kind of stuff. Lines that are so like, little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like when Sharon saved Bucky and he says, "Oh, you almost tore off my arm," little things like that. But. The Hydra Stomper was a badass suit of armor, and it was powered directly by the Tesseract, not by an arc reactor, which also made sense. So, because Howard couldn't make an arc reactor for it, but he could power it directly from the Tesseract. So that made sense. And that's so that meant Hydra didn't have the Hydra weapons, and so. The whole Hydra thing went down very differently. And then at the end, we have a totally different reason that Captain Carter ends up in the future than we had from the original, but she does end up in modern day just like Captain America did. And just like in Captain America, she and Steve Rogers had a romance that got separated by time. And so, which I thought was kind of a very nice poetic coda. And I could see in this alternate timeline, after their version of Infinity War and Endgame, that she would go back in time and spend her life with Steve Rogers, much like Steve Rogers did with her.
The only thing that disappointed me, though, was they could have at least shown the scene where when she did reemerge, that she could have went and seen Steve as Old Man Steve.
Yeah, I would have liked that. And even like, because like they've done that in most What If comics, they have a little more of the follow up, because like I was happy that they did show the emergence from the portal from the first Avengers film. But yeah, I would have liked a little more follow-up. Like they could have done a post-Endgame scene where like I would have gone from the little scene with Samuel L. Jackson when she first comes out of the portal to skip to her like giving the shield to Falcon, after Endgame. And then from there skip to like her dancing with Steve or something like that.
That might have been good too.
Yeah, something, I don't know, but just to kind of show the parallels of the timeline.
But then again, what if? Here's another what if. They ended it like that, so if they got a good review about it, they might go ahead and make a part 2.
That's an interesting thing, because What If though is notorious for never ever following up. And that's something that kind of hurts sometimes. Like, I want more, it's funny because I want more of this Sharon Carter verse. I want to see the whole MCU unfold in this alternate universe now. I want to see how it works out. We're not gonna see it in all probability, but I would love to. I would love to see that stuff. And of course, Thomas and Cinnabon are talking about how they ruined Marvel. Because, oh my gosh, it stars a woman, so it's bad.
I know, Cinnabon, they didn't ruin Captain America. They just did a different timeline.
Yeah.
So
Captain America is still Captain America. This is Captain Carter. And in fact, I will say this. I thought that it was interesting that Steve Rogers, without the super soldier serum, is still a badass superhero.
Yeah.
And that says volumes about Steve Rogers. You would not expect that 98-pound weakling Steve Rogers is still a badass superhero in this in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, but you put him in that Hydra Smashers suit, and there he went.
So MCU says Cinnabon. Yeah, they're all you guys.
I just hate women.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is, like, we always say, oh, just give me good stories. I don't care about the gender, blah, blah, blah. This was a good story. It genuinely was. I don't know what your problem is. I mean, I know you guys are just trolling, but, but there are people that are going to say that. I haven't looked around. I have not seen a single review of it. I don't know. Have you looked around as far as reaction of this episode?
I haven't seen much yet because I've been working with LDG because the computer went poof during one of my live streams earlier today. I had sound working on that and everything else. So I didn't have much time to go around and listen to everybody else.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea how people are reacting. I would predict that some fandom menace, some of the extreme fandom menace types are probably saying that it is MCU confirmed kind of thing. That, they're just trying to feminize the Marvel heroes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly like what Multi-Gunman just, MCU all about women kind of thing. But honestly, this was just a really good story.
And they can't say that this was just something that came up, because this came straight from a what if way back when they did these in the comics.
Yeah. And what if is fun. And by the way, now granted, if they made every single episode of What If just turning guys into girls, then sure, you could complain about that. But that's not if you've seen the trailers for What If, that's not what the series is about. That just happens to be what this one was. But there's we've seen in the trailers, there's What If Killmonger saved Tony Stark is going to be one of them. There's obviously the Marvel Zombies one. I don't know what they're going to do there.
That's the Spider-Man episode.
The Marvel Zombies one?
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. You see Spider-Man, but he looks like he's wearing the cloak of Doctor Strange.
Well, and then there's the What If T'Challa is the one that Yondu picks up instead of Peter Quill. That one looks interesting. So there's a lot of different stuff that's coming. Tom says, I haven't seen it yet, so like the Phantom Menace, I'm saying it was garbage. Yeah, so there you go. I don't know what the Phantom Menace is reacting. That's so don't, I'm not saying that from any knowledge, so please don't say that I'm saying that they're saying that. I'm just saying I could see them saying something like that. I don't, as far as the What If stuff, I've always loved the comics. A lot of them, like one of my favorites was, and it was a tragic story, because one of the most pivotal stories that I remember that got me into collecting comics seriously was the death of Phoenix. And then there's a what if Phoenix had not died, which they've actually done different versions of what if Phoenix had not died. But this particular one, this what if Phoenix had not died, first, she became this uber powerful superhero, and she actually went one-on-one against Galactus and held her own. But then by the end of the story, her power became so all-consuming that she literally destroyed the universe. She consumed the entire universe. And so, the Watcher basically said that, it was a tragedy that Jean Grey died, but if she hadn't have died, it would have been a far greater tragedy, And so that I thought, and that was, of course, before all the craziness where they retconned that wasn't really her and blah, blah, blah. And Multigun Man says, confirmed, Salty Trekker is putting words in the mouths of the Phantom Menace. Yes, indeed. You can accuse me that of today. I will accept that. But no, I don't know what people are saying, and that's why I was curious to see if anybody, or if they're just trying to ignore it. That could be too. I wouldn't be surprised if that's happening as well. Which...
Now, I think a lot of them are still ranting about the whole Robin thing to go on what if, so...
And so it says the Watcher. Yes, the Watcher. We actually, the Watcher were made canon in the MCU in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We see Stan Lee talking to the Watchers. They're the very tall, large-headed creatures that Stan was talking to and telling his adventures to. They literally they're one of the oldest races in the universe. And they have dedicated themselves to simply watching and recording the activities of every living thing in the universe. And they have a solemn vow that they will watch and record the activities of everything in the universe, but they will not interfere or intervene in any way, shape, or form ever. And that is their most solemn vow, and they absolutely cannot break it except for when they do. And when they do, it's usually like the Uatu, I think is how you say it, is the Watcher that happens to be assigned to Earth. And he lives on the moon. And he has, like, in one particular case, he was observing Reed Richards as Reed was trying to trick Galactus into thinking that he had the ultimate nullifier. And Galactus was trying to probe Reed's brain, and Galactus was like, some strange force is preventing me from reading your mind, so I cannot tell if you are trying to deceive me, and so I cannot take a chance that you have the ultimate nullifier, so I shall leave, right? And then, after he leaves, I think it was the Human Torch says, wait a minute, you're not allowed to intervene, and I know for a fact that you were probably the reason that he couldn't read Reed's mind, right? And Uatu says, well, I was simply trying to record all the events that were happening. So I was monitoring Reed's thoughts. If doing so happened to accidentally and inadvertently prevent Galactus from being able to read his thoughts, well, that was an unintended byproduct. So that was the Watcher intervening without intervening. So little things like that. But I do think that I do like Jeffrey Combs as the Watcher. I do really like so far the concept of the show. The animation style, it's not my favorite style of animation, but the writing was so good I didn't care. And I don't know. What did you think?
I'm not going to complain about the animation style after what I just seen a little while ago before the start of the stream.
What's that?
These fools have put out an animated version of Night of the Living Dead. For some reason.
What fools?
Oh, hell.
I mean...
Well, I'd seen it. IGN was promoting it.
Okay. Well, if IGN's promoting it, you know it's good.
And the animated style looks even worse than the old Super Friends cartoon from the 70s.
Hey.
No, I said it looks even worse than that.
I know, but I like the old Super Friends cartoon for this. Granted, I like it for its cheese factor.
Yeah, I could show you a brief of it, but it's so horrible. It's just
No,
it
that's
looks
right.
like
So
it
is
looks
it
like
cell shaded? Is it cell shade animation then, just really bad?
It's really horrible. It looks like little cardboard cutouts that have movable parts that put up on the. If you get bored later, go to my Twitter. I put the link to it up there and blasted it because it's like, why in the hell watch that garbage when you can go see the original classic?
Of Night of the Living Dead, they really did that. That doesn't make any sense. It was.
I know there's already 12 different Night of the Living Deads released over the years since the original. Why do it again?
Well, and the first one, I mean, because the first one was so visceral, you know. It works as a small, low-budget indie film. You don't need to, you know, people keep trying to improve on great films, and they don't understand. What you need to do is remake films that didn't work. Don't remake films that did. You know?
The only one that I could handle version they remade was the 1990 with Tony Todd.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That was colored. It was pretty much shot for shot too, but they had better actors and actresses in it. Like Tony Todd played Ben in it, and the one gal that was in Babylon 5 that played the Psych Core woman, red hair.
But you see, I think about movies.
Patricia.
Think about movies that like almost worked. Like think about like Last Starfighter. Man, what a great movie to remake would be Last Starfighter. And, you know, you can just update it for, with today's audience. And I think, man, it could be freaking awesome. But instead, you know, everybody wants to remake movies that were huge hits. And I just think that's kind of a mistake. And Mercer, thank you so much, puts in $1. And weird, the thing didn't read it, but it says, now it's reading it.
So Seth tweeted that they finally wrapped season 3. Yay. I miss Star Trek. I miss characters and adventures and a few jokes. I jallaged a lot yesterday.
And so I guess Seth tweeted out that they wrapped season 3 finally of Orville, so that's good. I've heard that we probably won't see it until the beginning of next year. If they just wrapped photography on it, then I think we're probably on track for an early next year release, because they got a lot of post-production, and if they're not going to release it until it's all done and in the can, then...
Now, see, that's another rumor floating around, is they're going to try to at least to get it out by Christmas.
Well, if so, it'll be a great Christmas present. I would like to see it by then, but... you know, honestly, I think they need to push it out as soon as they should already have episodes out. I know that people like to wait until they have all of the season done before they release the first episode. But Seth, come on, buddy. You've worked network television for years and years and years. You know the game. You release an episode when it's done, and while you're still working on the next episode, don't play games with us, because people are, you know, and not us, like, we're the hardcore, we're gonna watch it, I promise you. Me and Deej and probably everybody watching this stream right now, we're all gonna watch it. But general audience, people that are out there, you're losing them because you're waiting too long. Don't do it. You're gonna kill your show, and we don't want that to happen. All right.
Is Thomas Potts working for Krogan's now? Because now he's...
I think Thomas is just suffering from some of the side effects from getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Every now and then he gets these little side effects. But it is true that Bird did say that the Orville was canceled.
Well, yeah, that was funny, because we laughed when we showed him afterwards that it was going to continue.
But yeah, I am very much excited about Orville season 3. But the longer he takes, it's just like Avatar 2, you know? Avatar 2 would have been a great movie 8 years ago. But the fact that it's still a couple years out, nobody cares. You know, the hype is done for Avatar. Anyway, so what's your general feel? Are you excited for episode 2? Are you just kind of, where are you thinking?
Right now, I'm liking it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am, and if IMDb's right about what next week episode is.
What's the title of next week?
Well, they don't give a title, but they do say that it's the T'Challa episode.
Okay.
When Yondu takes him.
So what if Yondu picked up T'Challa instead of... All right.
That's what they have listed for next week. They see IMDb is kind of...
They're hit and miss on stuff that isn't out yet.
Yeah, they threw up the first 3 episodes, and then there's 4 episodes they don't have anything listed about, and then they list the last 2 episodes.
Right. So yeah. Well, I'm really digging it. Like I said, I don't particularly care for that style of animation, but the writing for me was so on point that I completely forgot about how much I hated the style of animation 10 minutes into it. Because it also very much helps, and this is one of the best things about it. It really helps that they have everybody playing the correct. They have the actors from the MCU playing the correct parts. So Chris Evans is Steve Rogers, and I'm sorry I can't remember her name, but the actress that plays Sharon Carter is Sharon Carter. Howard Stark. Howard Stark is Howard Stark. And so all the main players are the same actors we're used to. And so it doesn't, because one thing that's always driven me crazy is if you see an animated show.
You got something wrong.
What's that?
Chris Evans did not do Steve Rogers.
Really? That wasn't Chris Evans?
No, that was an actor named Josh Keaton.
Well, he did an incredible Chris Evans then. He did a great Chris Evans because he had me fooled. So good job. In that case, kudos for finding a great stand-in.
But the actor that did Howard Stark was doing himself on that one. So
either they got the original actor or they got someone good enough to fool you, or at least fool me. So it didn't pull me out, because I think one of the big problems that I when I see an animation that's based on a movie or based on a TV show and it's not the same actors, it always drives me crazy, because I feel like, these aren't the same characters, because they just don't feel the same, like if I'm playing the Guardians of the Galaxy video game and Star-Lord is voiced by someone who's totally different than Chris Pratt, then it just doesn't feel right, but when I'm watching this, the Sharon Carter anime, I'm like, okay, this feels like this could be an alternate history of the MCU. And I do know that Chadwick Boseman did record his voiceovers for the Yondu one before he died. So,
well, see, that's the funny thing. On this, they have him listed under 4 episodes.
I think, because I do think Black Panther appears in multiple, because he's probably in the Killmonger one as well.
He's the actor with the most episodes besides Jeffrey Wright doing The Watcher.
Well, I'm sure. Well, because I can think of 2 off the top of my head. He's probably in the Killmonger. He might be in the zombie one, because I'm sure everybody's in the zombie one. And I don't know. Maybe there's another group one that we don't know about.
Well, see, under this one, he's listed under episode 2, 5, 8, and 9.
Right.
So
and Mercer says it's easy how you get back into the show. Basically reruns of TNG anyway, so it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, Mercer, as far as here's the problem. Thank you so much. Throws in $1.
Mercer $1. Phase 4 with the multiverse and Kang and Doctor Strange and Loki is TVA. It's going to confuse the general audience. When it was just Thanos and Jules, it was much easier to relate to for common folks.
So phase 4, you think it's going to confuse people with the multiverse and stuff. I think it's going to depend on how they deal with it, whether or not it'll confuse people. I think that but let me deal with one topic at a time here, and then we'll. First of all, as far as getting back into the show, I think for us nerds, yeah, we'll have no problem. But I think for a general audiences, they lose interest and they just walk away. Look at what happened to Star Trek Beyond. You start putting a lot of time in between movies, and people just kind of say, whatever, I'm not interested anymore. I'm into the MCU now. You don't want to let people lose interest in your product. And so it's dangerous these days. As far as phase 4 getting complicated with multiverses and stuff like that, I think Marvel's doing a good job of kind of easing people into it with these shows. Like What If is a great way to get people into alternate realities. Because What If is a great way to just say, hey, what if something happened differently? Right? What if this happened? What if that happened? We've seen with the TVA and alternate timelines, people get that. We've seen shows like Sliders and Quantum Leap and stuff like that. Sci-fi geeks get that. Other people just think that they just like Loki because Loki's a fun character. People that watch WandaVision, they just like the fact that, we're looking at all these nostalgia things with the different era TV shows and stuff. When we get to the actual movies, I don't think that it's going to be radically confusing as far as jumping around to alternate realities and just constantly hitting you from 17 different directions. I don't think you're going to get I think the most complicated it's going to be might be Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is probably going to be the most difficult one for people to handle, and I don't think it's going to be any more complicated than the Into the Spider-Verse film.
I don't think Spider-Man's going to be the most complicated.
Really?
I think Doctor Strange will be the most complicated.
But and Doctor Strange already introduced us to a multiverse. The first Doctor Strange.
With the title Multiverse of Madness, I think that's where people are going to get confused. Or could get confused.
But I think that if you look at the first Doctor Strange film, one of the first things that the Ancient One did was show him the multiverse. And if you watch that scene when she says, open your eye, and sends him flinging across the multiverse, and that doesn't blow your mind, and you can still handle watching the MCU, I think you're fine. Super Blubberpost says, how will they explain the big time difference in the Orville? The Doctor's kids growing up by the time... I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll see what they do when the show comes out. I'm not stressing over it because that's on Seth. That's not my thing to worry about. Orville's kind of episodic. All right, we're not talking about Orville. This isn't the Orville show. Not right now. We'll talk more about Orville when we get close to Orville because we got a movie to talk about. And that movie is...
Suicide Squad.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Aaron Brockovich. Shoot. I watched the wrong movie.
Well, show's canceled, folks.
Okay, so the Suicide Squad, the sequel to the 2016 movie Suicide Squad. Talk about late sequels right there. And so which that is like Rick Flag looks noticeably older in the Suicide Squad. And Dan says, how was the first episode of What If? Well, did you watch it? It was awesome. Daniel, you come in right after we finished reviewing What If. It was awesome. It was great. We both liked it.
Scroll back 30 minutes and start over and just catch up with us. Yeah. You'll hear
it. And Thomas, why are you telling Cinnabon what Mecca's doing? You're supposed to be paying attention to us, not talking about Mecca. Jeez. What a bunch of jerks around here.
Thomas has the hots for Mecca.
Well, whatever. I get it. Mecca's better looking than either of us. But, you know.
And if you had seen what I'd seen earlier today, you'd be shocked at Cinnabon.
What? His dainty hands?
No, he said he would rather make love to Brie Larson than Linda Carter.
Well, today?
Linda Carter still ain't that bad looking today.
Yeah, but she's what? In her 70s?
60s, I think. Maybe 7.
I'm pretty sure she's in her 70s.
Ageist.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a current picture of her. Trying to find, yeah, nothing that isn't severely photoshopped.
Okay. Cinnabon exactly said put it in her, but I was trying to clean up the language.
Huh?
Cinnabon's reminding me he said put it in her. Okay, I was cleaning up the language, Cinnabon.
Oh, put it in her, throw one up in her.
Yeah.
He's such a class act. That's what. Let's see.
Mercer said she just turned 70.
Yeah, she is 70. Yeah. But Suicide Squad sequel to 2000. Yes, so Suicide Squad. Let's get back on topic here for a second. Suicide Squad is in fact a sequel to The Suicide Squad. Is a sequel to Suicide Squad. Rick Flag is in the film. Amanda Waller is the same character. And in fact, Captain Boomerang is back as well, played by Jai Courtney again. And there
are spoilers. There are spoilers, folks.
Yeah. So if you don't want spoilers, tune out right now, because I have a spoiler-free reaction on my channel. You can watch that if you want my spoiler-free opinion. Spoiler-free. I enjoyed it. Go watch it. All right. So there's my spoiler-free. All right. So here comes spoiler territory. All the death at the beginning of the movie, hilarious. Except for not quite enough.
That's what made me angry the most.
That they didn't kill the entire team?
No, they killed one that I wanted to continue on through the movie.
Which one?
Savant.
Oh yeah, I was kind of disappointed they actually pulled the plug on Savant. And I was also, well, you see, I was thinking like when they give us and I thought it was a good, it's one of those things where when they throw a twist at the beginning of a movie, how sometimes that can be a great way to start a film, and that's what they did, where you think this is the team, and then they kill the entire team, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the team, right? That was great. And so, what use was the weasel? The entire team is dead. That's the beauty of it. You know that beautiful shot you see of the Suicide Squad marching in front of the United States flag? That great shot? They're all dead. They all die in the first scene of the movie. It's great. Except for two of them that I kind of wish weren't in the movie or died. I would love it if they actually had the balls to kill Harley in that scene, but I know
you hate Harley Quinn.
I don't hate Harley Quinn. I don't particularly like Margot Robbie's interpretation of Harley Quinn. I prefer classic Harley Quinn, not slut Harley Quinn.
And to answer Super Blubberpuss, his powers technically are supposed to be sort of like ninja style.
Heightened senses. Very agile. Weasel is actually quite the killer as well.
Even though the original Weasel was just a guy in a weasel costume.
Right. But this weasel is actually a human weasel hybrid thing. Is it okay to skip Birds of Prey? Yes, you do not need Birds of Prey at all to and in fact, Birds of Prey almost doesn't even make sense with this movie in continuity.
No, because
Harley is in jail.
The Suicide Squad, Harley'd be in jail the entire time. She wouldn't have been out to do Birds of Prey.
Right. So it's probably better to skip Birds of Prey and just say that Harley's been in jail the whole time. Who's the shark guy? Sylvester Stallone, and he is great. And
Shark was my second favorite character of the movie.
Him and Polka Dot Man. I loved Polka Dot Man. He was so off the chain psychotic, and he played it so well. And then when you hear his story, you just want to cry. I mean, he really had a great story. And then when you see the world the way he sees it, you're like, oh, this guy is so messed up. You know? So I love Polka Dot Man. I love King Shark. I know that they used his proper name, but he's always King Shark to me.
The one I liked the most, though, was the rat.
Oh, the rat girl. She was good.
No, not the girl herself. I just like.
Oh, you liked her rat. You actually liked her rat that was waving at everybody.
Yeah, because I made this analogy that King Shark is kind of like Dave Bautista's character in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
and the rat is like Baby Groot.
Yeah, I can see that. And King Shark, I mean, he was. And, you know, the funny thing about King Shark is that he's a character who literally just likes to eat humans. Like, he literally is a shark. He's a walking, talking shark. And he's
unless you're his friend.
But he's never had a friend until this day. And so and it's like, but he and it's so funny because like he particularly likes to gnaw on human heads apparently. And it's kind of funny as he's like walking around just like chewing on a human head, and he's but yeah, they really play that up. King Shark does love human flesh. So he has no qualms. He doesn't have any thought of morality as far as that's concerned, because he's just a shark. I mean, he's not human. He's just a shark. To him, we're just food. And so when they finally he kind of gets the idea that their team are friends, and so he actually decides to be friends with them. And no, bullets do not penetrate his shark hide.
Hand?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Hand?
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to go on.
No, I was doing shark.
Oh, yeah. Hand. This is my hand. He's so dumb, and it's hilarious because he just says the dumbest thing sometimes just to have something to say, which is great. You know, it's like, he's like reading a book, but he's not reading it. He's just holding the book upside down in front of him to pretend that he's reading. And like he's looking at fish in the fish tank. Goes, like, oh, new dumb friends. You know, it's like, it's just hilarious. So yeah, he was great. And he was like their tank character. You know, he was their strong man. And then you had Bloodsport and I always forget his name, the Patriot guy. It's John Cena. Peacemaker. So Bloodsport and Peacemaker were like the two greatest weapons guys ever. And that basically made Rick Flag look like he didn't know what the hell he was doing. And so they're the weapons specialists. And then you had Polka Dot Man, which is really their super-powered projectile guy. And he actually was probably the most powerful one of them, but didn't really, he lacked confidence with the use of his powers. And then you had Harley that was just there because she's popular. And that's why I didn't like the fact that she was there. She was there because she's popular. And there's no organic necessary reason to have her in the story. Her character, and then they make her like even more of a badass than all the weapons experts when she escapes from her captives. But why not? And so I didn't. That's why I didn't like her in the movie, because I think that, why did they do that? I mean, why when she was running around blindsiding, shooting everybody like she was a ballerina? I don't know. You probably liked it because she's hot. Yeah. See.
Yeah. And tonight.
And Super Blubber Post says, how did Harley Quinn get superpowers? She's super jumped, had super strength. I don't. Harley Quinn has superpowers of Mary Sue-ness in this, and I don't like it. I didn't. She's not in the movie that much, which is good. But when she does show up, everybody loves her, and she always solves every problem herself. She can't have other people help.
Well, come on. That was funny that she broke out by herself. They were going in to rescue her, and she looks, well, I can go back in and wait for you.
That was a funny moment. I'll give you that. There's a few funny moments involving her, but I don't like the fact that, okay, she kills the evil dictator. She kills Sorrow. She basically solves every problem in the movie.
Just Harley.
Yeah, but she's here's the problem. You have two of the greatest weapons people in the world. You have a guy that can disintegrate anything with polka dots. You have King Shark, who's like as strong as the Thing from the Marvel Comics universe. And then you have a psychotic ex-psychiatrist who likes to kill people with a mallet. And yet she's the one that kills the evil dictator and the giant killer starfish. It doesn't make sense. Now, that being said, and this is why I'm mixed on this movie. I found the movie thoroughly entertaining. So don't get me wrong. While I did not like what they did with Harley, I really enjoyed the movie. For one thing, it was so great to see a big budget, honest, faithful adaptation of Sorrow. I didn't think they would go for it, but they did. Now, I would have rather seen Sorrow fight the Justice League, because that's who Sorrow is supposed to fight. But it was still cool seeing the Suicide Squad fight Sorrow. If you want to see the Justice League fight him, you can watch that old episode of Robot Chicken. Yeah, I know, or you can just watch what it's one of the animated movies, I think, that they fight him. But
the Robot Chicken one's funnier.
Yeah. Tom says, I think Cinnabon wants me to play background music. You want me to play some background music, Cinnabon? I can do that for you. I can bring us some background music if you want. And Harley has a super taco, says Nicole.
Mm-hmm. Super tacos.
I think super disease taco. Harley Quinn is boring because she is in no danger. Well, yeah, that's why I didn't care for her character at all. Like, when every single person on that team was killed, you knew full well that Harley was alive. Now, Rick Flag, I thought they might have killed him off, but they didn't. Honestly, I think
but they didn't kill off every single member of that team, because at the end,
I know there's the post credits where Weasel's alive. Which is the funny thing is, when Weasel runs off, you can so tell that is James Gunn's brother, because of the way he runs.
I thought it was his son.
No, that's his brother.
His brother? Okay.
Yeah, the guy that plays the wienery guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. That's his brother.
Yeah,
that's his little brother. But yeah, but you could tell just by the way he runs that's him. which I thought that was they did that just for laughs because, why would Weasel be the one to survive? Whatever. I think that, if you're going to, the whole thing of the twist at the beginning with wiping out the team and that really they were just a distraction because the real team is the other team, because the other team, it made sense. The other team, you had Bloodsport on it. The other team, you had King Shark on. The other team, you had Polka Dot Man on. You had your big guns on the other team, right? That team was the team that you were actually banking on getting in there and getting the job done.
Yeah, you had all the screw-ups on the diversion team.
Right. And so, which actually, it kind of makes sense that Harley would be on the diversion team, but what doesn't make sense is that Harley survived that assault. Now, I will say this, the jackass from Saturday Night Live, that I can't remember what his character name was, like Black Flag, I think it was.
Black Flag.
Best death in the movie. Absolute best death in the movie. And the first death of the movie as well. I loved his death. So, good job. I was like, when I found out he was in this movie, I was like, I cannot believe he landed this gig. I cannot believe he's in the Suicide Squad. He's all right on Saturday Night Live, but come on. And then when he did what he did, I was like, oh, I see why he's in this. And then bam. Yeah, you got what you deserve, buddy. But watch it, that whole diversion team, I think it would have been a more impactful opening if they had killed the entire team. I think that having either don't put Harley on that team and leave her out of the movie, or have the balls to kill her. Which I know, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? Look, Margot Robbie ain't going to play Harley forever. So have the balls to do it. You're still going to do Gotham City Sirens. You can say it's a prequel. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll want to do this prequel, because I want to hold her over in case they want to do another one with her.
It doesn't, but you know what? You can always say, oh yeah, that movie took place in an alternate timeline, or you know how they are. They can always make excuses. That was a Harley clone. It was her sister. There's a million reasons you can come up with that she's still around. There's no difference from Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, and Harley Quinn from Batman the Animated Series. You are blind as a freaking bat. If you think that you think there's no difference between Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn and Harley Quinn from Batman the Animated Series, you are insane. Sorry, Daniel. I love you, buddy. But they're not the same character. They don't behave the same at all in any way, shape, or form. And obviously they don't dress even remotely the same. So yeah, they're not in any way, shape, or form the same. Super Blogger Post says, go ahead.
I just want to say I did love also how Amanda Waller got her comeuppance.
Yeah, I was actually impressed that she got her comeuppance, because Amanda Waller usually never does. So that was impressive, although you could tell that everybody was kind of nervous at the end of the movie because, how many of those people are going to end up dead now? And, that's what I want to know. Mary Sue's can't die and will always save the day, especially anything Disney. Well, first of all, I know everybody wants to diss Disney, but newsflash, this ain't Disney. You don't have to pretend everything is Disney and Disney is the source of all evil. Okay, this is Warner Brothers, and stop going off on Disney all the time, people. Sorry, Super Blubber Post, but Disney is not as evil as you think it is. Whatever.
Well, they are evil, but sometimes
But they're not that level of evil. That's all. I mean, look, Disney. Yeah, whatever. I wanted Greta Thunberg to play Black Flag. Well, she didn't.
How dare you?
And Donnie says, hello, I hope everyone is well. Hey, Donnie. Hey, Donnie, I'll bet you your favorite part of the Suicide Squad was the soundtrack. Ba-dum-bum. You know Donnie, right? He thinks the best thing of every movie is the soundtrack.
Well, a lot of the movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Oh, well, Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll tell you, I don't know if you ever heard this, but James Gunn, I saw a little thing with him. I love the idea of how he did this. The reason Guardians works so well with its soundtrack is when he writes the movie, he actually puts the song on. He finds the song for the scene. And then, so he searches and searches, and then he's like, okay, this is the song. So he finds the, whatever it's called, the Pina Colada song. And so then he starts playing that song on a loop. And then he starts writing the scene. And so that's how he writes Guardians of the Galaxy. And so he finds a song and then writes a scene. Finds a song, writes a scene. That's brilliant to me. And that's why the music fits that movie so well.
I mean, come on. Tell me one movie that has a better opener than Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
The Guardians of the Galaxy 1?
No.
I don't know.
Guardians,
I don't know, because Guardians of the Galaxy 1 hits you in the feels, man. The way that it like, the kid's mom dies, and then he cries, he goes outside, and then an alien spaceship shows up and abducts him, and bam, opening credits, and you're like, oh, man, you just hit me. And then you go from that to him singing and dancing and kicking alien rats. It's like such a, I mean, I don't know. The first Guardians of the Galaxy opening just hit me.
I don't know. Number 2, I love that. But
the number 2 opening is great too. I mean, with them singing and dancing and fighting the alien, I love that too. But I think the first one, because it sets up that incredibly somber tone, then logo, and then incredibly fun tone, so that you kind of set up that Star-Lord is a fun-loving guy with a very dark background. And I think that it sets it up perfectly. Thomas wants to know, how's Idris Elba's acting? Idris Elba brought his A game. He really did. He, as Bloodsport, it's funny because he was an obvious filler for Will Smith, but he was better than Will Smith by far. I think Will Smith kind of phoned it in the first film. Idris Elba, he came to play, and I really liked him. They kind of made him. They gave him motivation. Actually, he was a mean ass son of a bitch. He was not a nice man, but they gave him a motivation that worked, and
that's why Waller got whacked over the head.
Yeah. And I will tell you, and if you saw my video about Gunn's secret message to the cancel culture, I do think that that's real. The fact that the whole thing is about the children and the whole thing is about birds. Those two themes keep coming up through the whole thing. I think that is intentional. But with Idris Elba, it's all about the children. And that theme hits home hard for him. And as the father of an adult daughter, his story hit home and really did well. Donnie says, no, I do not love the score for the Suicide Squad, but the action sequences... as well. Not only do I love the score for the Suicide Squad, but the action sequences as well, to be honest. Well, I figured you would like the score, but the action sequences are pretty darn good. Like I said, I love seeing Sorrow done well. I didn't think you could do Sorrow well, but they did. What did you think of Sorrow?
Big. No, actually, I kind of liked the villain.
Well, I think it was
okay.
cool. Like when you think about it, when those little starfish would shoot out of its armpits, that was scary. Because you think about it, if you're in the crowd and those start coming out, if you don't have something to protect your face, you're like, oh crap. Yeah. But I'm just saying though, but if you're not thinking about that, if you're in panic mode,
or just turn around.
Those things can move around, they don't just they're not like dumb fire things. They were flying.
I was trying to remember what they reminded me of when they latched on the faces, and now I can't.
Face huggers from Alien.
Well, no, it was something from Doctor Who, actually, that it reminded me of an episode where they tried to genetically alter a Dalek with a human, and the Dalek ended up human form with one giant eye and had these little things. That's what it reminded me.
And Dragon Sword, I will agree with you 100%. Will Smith was Will Smith playing Deadshot, where Idris Elba became Bloodsport. That is 100% true. But Idris Elba, honestly, Will Smith doesn't have a lot of acting range, which, when he was young was fine. But now that he's getting older, he can't play a young, cocky guy anymore. And he needs to stop trying to be a young, cocky guy. And so, because it doesn't work anymore. But the
whole reason why it got me thinking of Doctor Who was one of my favorite doctors was in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Capaldi.
Let's talk about Peter Capaldi. He brought his A game. It was great to see Peter Capaldi in something that wasn't, unfortunately badly written. Like the later stuff that he was doing on Doctor Who, and
like World War Z.
Yeah, and so Peter Capaldi was evil. Oh man, he was evil. And so, and he was a great villain. He was. And the funny thing, he was so stupid looking. When you first see him, he's called the Thinker, which is an actual supervillain from DC Comics. Let me see if I can find a decent picture of him. Shoot. Can you because I only got one screen. Can you bring up a picture to share? Because if I try to share screens, I can't really share screens because I only have one monitor.
There you go.
All right, there we go. Well, no, I was going to say, see if you can find the Thinker from the comics. There he is.
Oh, you want a comics Thinker?
Yeah, I was going to compare him to what he looks like in the comics.
All right, let's see.
I want to see how accurate were they. And LD did not like him.
Most of these pictures,
but LD's stupid.
The comics one, they got his dang head facing weird directions. Now we'll try this one.
Let's see. So yeah, that's and you can see that's actually a fairly close rendition to what Capaldi's Thinker looked like. And so as silly as that looks like, it looks like a dude with spark plugs sticking out of his head. And that's pretty much what Capaldi looked like. But man, he was just twisted and messed up. So I really enjoyed seeing him in this movie. And don't listen to LDG. He's the Thinker was not. Look, a movie like this is not about the villain. If it was about the villain, then you can't have the Suicide Squad. It would have to be about one hero. Because you can't introduce an entire squad, and in fact, you have two entire squads of people. You can't introduce that many characters and then also have a villain that you're going to spend half your film with. Because this film was about getting to know King Shark and Ratcatcher 2 and Bloodsport and Peacekeeper and all these characters, not to mention all the ones that end up dying along the way, so that and you're getting to know them and them kind of learning to function as a team, and then as when they do die, like when some of them die, you're supposed to feel it. So if you want a super deep villain, well, then you need to have a well-established heroes already. And that's why, that's one of the problems that happens in superhero movies all the time, is when they want to blow their wad and put the best villain in the first movie. That's almost always a huge mistake. Because if you bring in, like if they, and they've done it over and over, if you do a Fantastic Four movie and you do Doctor Doom in the first movie, well, let the first movie be about the Fantastic Four and throw the Mole Man in there, because nobody gives a crap about the Mole Man. And so you can just make it about the Fantastic Four. Then bring Doctor Doom in the second movie. You can stew on Doctor Doom a bit and not have to introduce the Fantastic Four in it, And I agree, Thomas. The Thinker is what LDG will look like in 10 years. Except, a little chunkier. But I'm pretty sure that if you notice, LD only looks at you from one side. He's always got his head turned. And I think it's because there's a spark plug sticking out of one ear. What do you think? Think LD's already got a spark plug wired up to him?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah. There you go. That's proof, as far as I'm concerned. So, what do you think? What's your thoughts on
Suicide Squad? I enjoyed it for a good popcorn film.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's a good popcorn flick. Not too deep. Like I said, it has its Mary Sue issues for me with Harley. But honestly, King Shark, Polka Dot Man, and Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2 more than make up for the drawbacks with Harley to me.
In recent movies that I've been watching, I still put it under Black Widow.
Yeah, you'd say Black Widow's a little better, is what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree.
Still more entertaining film.
I would say, yeah, so for 2021... You'd say Black Widow's probably the best 2021 film so far?
No. Second best.
What's the best 2021 film?
Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
I got Kong versus Godzilla right up there.
How did I forget about Kong versus Godzilla? Man. See, it's my brain not working, buddy. I got to say, because at the end of the year, we're going to have to do a best of the year and a worst of the year.
Because right? Kong versus Godzilla's got a special place in my heart, too, because that was me getting back at the IMAX, seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
So, boom. Even though I'd already watched it on HBO, I still went to IMAX and watched it again, just for the feels.
Dragon Sword says, building team cohesion by a body count contest over rebels in the camp from the Predator movie. Building team cohesion by a body count contest over rebels in that camp from the Predator movie. Well,
Oh, I know what he's talking about. When they went in to go rescue...
right, in the first Predator movie, I know they were...
No, that's not what he's talking about.
Okay, what's he talking about?
I think he's talking about how the team came together when they went into the rebel camp, supposed rebel camp, to rescue the team. The one guy.
You're talking about the first Predator movie?
No. That camp looked like the camp from a Predator movie.
All right.
We're talking about the Suicide Squad, though.
Right, and then you're talking about how Bloodsport and Peacemaker kept basically trading off, killing people, and kind of one-upping each other.
Yeah, but it built a team cohesion with them.
In a sense, and I gotta say, the best part of that was that Bloodsport kind of... it's funny because in a sense, it showed both their strengths in that Peacemaker, remember he shot the last guy over his shoulder without looking, and Bloodsport was like, non-lethal, doesn't count. And then he says, oh, it counts if it's badass, and then it blows up and kills the guy. And then Bloodsport's like, damn, it sure does, you know? And so I think that one was great because it shows Peacemaker shows he is a badass and with the explosion. And Bloodsport shows his humility in that he admits that he was outdone, which is actually something you don't see very often in a film like that. Usually you never see the bravado and one of them go, yeah, you got me. You know, that's a very rare thing. And that's something that stood out to me, is that I really like the fact that Bloodsport showed that he knows when he's been bested.
Then to come to find out that was the rebel camp. That would have been on their side. Yes.
And of course they realized they were killing their friends. Oops. That was a real big oops. Super Blubberpost says, I see no difference between Harley Quinn and Black Widow. The characters are interchangeable. The characters is almost every TV show and movie now. Well, then you are completely blind and deaf. Sorry, Super. Look, I love you. You know that. But Harley Quinn and Black Widow are totally different archetypes. They're very different characters. I understand that, I mean, they're both females, but the similarities end there. I mean, that's honestly, that's about all they have in common. And no, his name is Bloodsport, I believe.
Yeah, Bloodsport.
As in the movie Bloodsport, which is one thing that I liked, because in one scene he mentions the dim mak, and then which is the death touch, and the other guy knew what the dim mak was when they used it on the other guys. So it's the and the funny thing is that in the movie, and this was one of those deep cut trivia moments in the movie Bloodsport, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, the dim mak is the death touch move that Frank Dukes used to prove that he was a ninja to get into the Kumite, which he mentioned the Kumite when he was talking about the dim mak in that scene. So I thought that was kind of a cool little deep cut there. So I don't think they're both Mary Sues. You can argue about whether or not they're overpowered or not. I think that Black Widow, especially, I mean, I'll say this. I think that Black Widow is a little overskilled, but I don't think she's overpowered. Especially if you consider, like, I mean, Black Widow, she literally beats the bad guy by being punched in the face.
And let's remember, folks, these are superhero movies. They're not meant to be lifelike and realistic. They're supposed to be this way for camp, for fun, for laughs. They're not supposed to be total realistic.
Right. I mean, yeah, you look, it's one of those things, if you're watching a movie like this, look, the Death Star is going to blow up at the end of the movie. Period. These are not the kind of movies where bad guys are going to win and shoot somebody in the face. You know, they're going to miss, they're going to hit their body armor, they're going to misfire, whatever. You know, somebody on the good guy team is going to win. And if there is a title character, that title character is going to survive and win. So,
shut up, Darth.
What? These are real life people. Yes. Indeed. Did you shell out $5.99 in 1974 to learn the ancient secrets of the gin mark? No.
Let's gunman. Why do they have to hide their wallet from me? I'm not getting any money.
Yeah. It's never safe when you're around, and GH, hide your wallet. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Black Widow fell from the sky and lived. I didn't expect it to be realistic. I just wanted to make a little sense. Well, and I'm the first person to say, and I actually said this when we talked about Black Widow, is that if I was doing a CinemaSin style review of Black Widow, the last 20 minutes of the film, I would just be saying, she survived this. She survived this. She survived this. That's the biggest problem with the whole falling down of the Sky Fortress, is that she kept surviving impossible things. I'll grant you that. That was kind of a bit over the top. However, did you watch any of the Fast and Furious movies? I mean, they make that look like, a Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, really, they do. I'm looking forward to watching Fast and Furious 9 one of these days, but I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, the Fast and Furious movies, I mean, they'll jump a car into outer space or something, but I get it. That they do some stupid things there now, and Black Widow doesn't have superpowers. She's just ridiculously lucky in that respect. But overall, I still enjoyed the film. However, the fact that she's very skilled and punches people and jumps around and kicks people and stuff, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me would be if she was like, throwing people 3 times her size across the room, which generally she doesn't do, or punches people and sends them flying across the room, which generally she doesn't do. One thing I really appreciated all the way back to Iron Man 2, when she first arrived on the scene, is her style of fighting was always one where she would actually use her body frame and type to fight in such a way as to be able to take somebody down realistically. However,
we're going to complain about that. We got to go way back and complain about Mr. Miyagi throwing around big guys 3 times the size.
And we're going to talk about Mr. Miyagi. Let's talk about the fact that Daniel won the tournament by cheating. He kicked the guy in the face. That was against the rules.
Come on, people. You going to stick up for Daniel now? He cheated.
I mean, he literally kicked the guy in the face, which was against the rules, and they gave him the points. But whatever. I guess Daniel's amazing.
You got a show you got to watch. You got a show coming up you got to watch.
What's that?
Don't Lower Decks come out tonight?
Yes, Lower Decks is tonight, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Have you been looking at any of the clips they've been releasing on Twitter?
No, because I don't have Paramount, so I can't watch it anyway. So
I'm telling.
Doesn't bother me.
There's one of them. It looks really, really funny. But Thomas has been sending me these clips, but they said. It was Ransom, the first officer of the ship, and he was calling up to the bridge, and he's like, Captain, that Pakled refugee we picked up, I think he's a spy. Oh, no, put him in the brig. Well, I don't really think we have to worry. He just took a picture of his foot. And you see the Pakled behind him with a camera taking pictures of his foot,
Super blubberpuss. 2 wrongs don't make it right.
Oh, he only cheated after the back.
Cheated.
Well, and Super Blood is, let's see. Things will never improve if you always point and blame someone else. I'm not pointing and blaming someone else. What are you talking about? And Multi-Gunman's never seen any of the Fast and Furious. Oh, we got to change that, buddy. You need to see all them Fast and Furious movies.
I only seen the first one.
Really? Oh man, you don't know what you're missing. It went from street racing to street racing with drugs to street racing in Japan to more street racing with gasoline to street racing, but we're stealing a bank vault to international street racing where someone is hacking things to street racing, but we're trying to get an international hitman who's killing people, but now the person that was hacking stuff before is helping us to get the hitman, to now there's a person who can hack into any system anywhere, so the hitman from before is helping us with the street racing to help the people who will get... It's such a convoluted mess. It's hilariously stupid and silly and fun.
If I want stupid, silly, and fun with street racing, I'll watch Death Race 2000.
No. You have to understand, they do things like take and steal a Lamborghini that's in one of the buildings in one of those skyscrapers in Dubai, and then they drive it out of the skyscraper and jump it to another skyscraper, drive through that skyscraper and jump it to a third skyscraper, and then spin it out of control and then crash it out of that skyscraper, and it lands on the street.
Doesn't sound any better than driving a limo through a building while there's a giant earthquake and things are falling down.
No, it's much better. Because it's much more realistic.
We need more 2012. Awesome movie.
Oh yeah, me and Matthew watched 2012 about a month ago.
Yeah, I was there that night.
Yeah. But the street racing and the Fast and Furious. I see. I was thinking about. I wish I could get Matthew to do the movie night every week, because I would make him for 9 straight weeks watch all the Fast and Furious movies. That would be so wonderful to just watch his brain melt as they got so bad.
I think you kind of blew it when you made him watch all the Sharknadoes.
What? He loved it. There's only 6 of those, though.
Yeah.
But I think we'll start 2022 with all the Fast and Furious movies. So, because we started 2021 with all the Sharknado movies.
No, I got a better choice for you to make Matthew watch.
What's that?
All the Tremor movies.
Why all the Tremor movies?
Because they get so more ridiculous as they go. They're just like the Sharknado movies. Except I'm still pissed off, and this is spoiler warning. They killed off Burt Gunmer finally in the last movie.
How many Tremor movies are there?
6 or 7 of them, too.
I'll have to take a look. Let's see. Lisa says, why doesn't Black Widow have any superpowers? If I recall, in Silver Age Origins, she used glorious communist powers, copying technology to get off-brand version of Spider-Man's powers. As far as I know, Black Widow does not have any kind of superpowers. I mean, that's... As far as I know, she's never had any superpowers. John DeMarco has never seen the Fast and Furious movies, and that's just fine with me. Yes, but John, if we're going to make Matthew suffer... Super Blogpost says Fast and Furious is stunt guys driving cars, actors acting in front of green screens. They don't even try to make it look semi-realistic. Blurry green screen for 50% of the movies. No, not even close, buddy. Now it's just all CG. Multi-Gumman, now I'm going to have to watch Fast and Furious movies. I'm into cheeseball. Oh, if you like cheeseball movies, let me tell you, you start with cheese in the first one, by the time you get to number 5, don't listen, you're going to go through the first 4 movies and you're going to be like, Andy, Salty Trekker is kind of nuts. It's not that, I mean, yeah, it's cheesy, but it's not getting better. And you're going to say that about movie number 4. And you're going to be like, what is he smoking? Then you're going to watch number 5 and you're going to go, holy crap! And then it's going to go off the deep end. By the time you get to number 8, you're going to be like, what is going on here? And they're like racing cars against submarines. So, yeah.
You have 7 Tremor movies and a Tremors TV series.
Okay. And yes, trying to outrun a sub. What's next? A shark? Well, in the new one, I don't know what they go up against because I haven't seen number 9 yet. There's also the Hobbs and Shaw, which is technically not a Fast and Furious movie, but it is in the Fast and Furious franchise. Whatever that means. I'd rather watch Star Trek Discovery nonstop than any Fast and Furious. Wow, Thomas. Have you even seen any of the Fast and Furious movies, Thomas? You're just being mean today. Have you seen that clip I sent of Matthew saying every Friday? I haven't used it yet. No, I need to use that against him. Let's see. And Multi Gunman likes the Tremor movies, so he thinks we should do that. Salty Trekker is kind of nuts. Well, jerk. Nicole just thinks Sharknado's just dumb. Let's see. Maybe you should just start with number 5. Well, you got to watch the first one. And it's funny because the first one is really just, what is it? The Keanu Reeves movie. What's the Keanu Reeves movie? Where he was the undercover cop. Oh man.
Oh no. I still haven't watched the last Bill and Ted movie yet, so.
Where he's like a surfer that's an undercover cop.
Point Break?
Yes. So the first Fast and Furious movie is just Point Break, except race cars instead of surfing. That's all it is.
Well, one of the Fast and Furious movies, isn't it supposed to be like Ocean's 11?
That's number 5. That's number 5. So what happens is after the first 4 is just basically about street racing, right? That's the formula. It's mainly about street racing. In the first one, it's an undercover cop trying to find out if street racers are actually trying to steal like stuff from truckers. And so it's like I said, Point Break with street racers. But then at the end, the cop lets the street racers go, so he gets busted. So in the second one, the cop is offered a deal by the feds to get basically his record expunged as he helps them take down a drug lord who's looking for street racers to run drugs for him. So, wash, rinse, repeat, except this time he's in Miami. So they want to change the formula up a little bit. So in the third one, they just get a whole new cast and it takes place in Tokyo. That's the one that's called Tokyo Drift, where they have a 35-year-old high school senior not making that. I mean, the guy looks like he's 35 years old, and it's like, you're 17. It's like, whatever, dude. But he's like getting in trouble for street racing, and he's told that he can either go to jail or leave the country. So he moves in with his dad, who lives in Tokyo, and so but then he gets into drift racing and has adventures there. And then they cut back to the original street crew in number 4, who's now street racing in, like, I don't know, Cuba or something. And then in number 5, they turn it into a heist movie where they decide they're going to steal a bank vault. And that's when things get interesting. And then things go crazy from there. And then that's when they start, like, taking down international terrorism. And then they bring in The Rock, who plays Hobbs, the super cool FBI agent who's trying to track them down and bring them down. And then Hobbs, of course, joins the team in the next one because they got to take down this guy named Shaw, who's played by Jason Statham. And so, but then in the next one, Jason Statham joins the team. And so, it's like every time the villain ends up joining the team on the next one, so that's kind of how they do it. Because why not? So now the franchise basically has Vin Diesel, The Rock, and Jason Statham heading up these guys. So it's like, who could stand up to these three? I mean, you, me, and Bird of Prey, maybe.
Yeah, we could take them out easy.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight. Like, The Rock could just flex his muscles and, we'd all go down.
No, I'd use Bird in the bed and I'd start rolling it and try to take out their kneecaps.
Okay, there we go. Team America on wheels. Yeah, Tokyo Drift was a special kind of dumb. The ultimate build was that 67-year-old Cobra with a 78 Datsun engine. Yes, indeed. And that is no lie. They did that. They put a 78 Datsun engine in a 67-year-old Cobra. For anybody that knows what that means.
If I was going to be in a Fast and Furious movie, I'd want my very first car.
What was
65 Rambler. It was a battle tank.
When Fast and Furious went to rockets on cars in space, nope, I don't think they've done that yet. Valor says, you've seen one Fast and Furious movie, you've seen them. I disagree. I will say this. Every Fast and Furious movie is unique. They are all very, very different. And they all violate the laws of physics. Yeah, well, the first ones don't. Because the first ones were done with actual stunt drivers. But I think that and in fact, I do think the first one is still the best one. I think there's a couple of scenes like when when Vin Diesel comes charging out of that little stupid restaurant to beat the crap out of Paul Walker. He looks scary as F. But there now it's like, yeah, whatever. Anyway. So, any final words? So we pretty much decided that I gotta say, the Suicide Squad was good, not great. I think we both agree on that.
Definitely wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible and terrible either. It was just an okay popcorn film.
It was a fun movie. And so we both agree on that. It was good, not great. Enjoy it, but don't expect too much from it. King Shark is, and Polka Dot Man. I want more Polka Dot Man. I really do. And What If? Can't wait for episode 2. And Lower Decks, Deej ain't gonna bother watching it because he hates you.
No, I just don't have the way to watch it. So unless I happen to stumble upon a way from today until next week. If I've watched it, then I will give a review of what it was. And
Super Blood Plus, I don't know, as far as the new ones, I don't know how much is CG and how much is... Well, I'm sure they use CG for some of the crazy stuff they do, but I don't know how much they do and how much they don't. Anyway, so we're both in pretty much agreement on that, and then we've talked about some random stuff as well. And, we know that Deej... just doesn't care enough about you to spend $6, because he's a cheap bastard.
I'm poor.
Well, so am I, but
and I'm not monetized, so I don't have all that extra money coming.
Oh yeah, I got to roll it in. Let me tell you, when people file freaking DMCA's against my 300 view videos, that was awesome.
I forgot that DMCA.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about having my son do a little video like that, like a YMCA parody. But then I was like, no, you know what? I'm not going to bother. It's not worth the effort. But hopefully tomorrow Man, I've been trying to get this video done, but this stupid part 2 of the Sacrifice of Angels is taking more work than I anticipated on this crappy computer. Is very difficult, but really looking forward to getting part 2 of the Sacrifice of Angels done. It's going to be 4 parts total, and so that'll be fun.
And you have to take the time to watch Lower Decks because you do care about the viewers.
Yes, and I will talk about Lower Decks sometime tomorrow. Thanks, Deej, for just throwing more stuff at me to do because you're a dick.
I know it. Yeah. I know I am.
All right, so with that, guys, have a wonderful whatever the heck it is in your time zone. And, now I got to wait a minute because there's a stupid delay, so I don't want to accidentally cut us off too early. So let me see here. What I will do is hold my hand up like this and wave. And when I see my hand do that, then I will be able to end the stream. So that way, I won't end it too soon, but, maybe I will. Maybe I'll just end it early just to be a jerk. Because that's just the kind of guy I am. Man, this delay is longer than I was expecting. It's probably just because, there was like maybe a pause in there somewhere. And I'm just not paying